It's the meltdown that no one believed would ever happen. As a shaking Towanda Braxton broke down in tears and gasped out the words no one ever expected her to speak, cameras scrambled, insiders freaked out, and social media exploded in real time. Because Tamar Braxton has finally done the unimaginable tonight, following years of rumors, denials, and family-wide cover-ups. She has returned home with her 50,000. Indeed. The same residence that turned into the focal point of one of the most complicated and covert celebrity scandals in contemporary culture. The Braxton dynasty is currently being torn apart by the truth like an uncontrollable wildfire. This is not a rumor, a conjecture, or just another tabloid dream created for clicks. This is the explosive series of events that was directly revealed by someone who was inside the room during the sisters' battle. Someone reports that because the altercation was so heated, security intervened, producers turned off the microphones, and everything was recorded by an unidentified phone. In any case, get ready for this drama to shatter the Braxton legacy rather than just cracking its foundation. There are allegations of treachery, hidden recordings that no one was ever supposed to hear, passionate outbursts behind closed doors, and a shocking disclosure that has fans, celebrities, and even business executives covertly take sides. Remain exactly where you are. Avoid blinking. Hold your breath. You'll see why insiders are referring to this as the most devastating family breakup of the decade once you learn why Tamar reclaimed that house and what Towanda sobbed in reaction. Everything halted as soon as the video appeared on the underground rumor channels. Instagram accounts, studio sets, and even the Braxton Family Values producers were allegedly cautioned not to speak until legal cleared the air, but it was already too late. The video had gone viral. Tamar was pacing, her jaw tight, her voice trembling with an anger no one had ever witnessed in her. And Towanda, who insisted that everyone was misinterpreting the situation while perched on the edge of the now famous beige couch and holding a crumpled tissue. However, insiders claim that Tamar was done, not just furious. The moment she discovered the house she assisted Towanda in securing had been manipulated, flipped, and used in ways that would make any sister feel deceived, years of simmering animosity exploded. A member of the production team was the source of the initial insider leak. A big manila envelope containing receipts, dates, wire confirmations, and documentation of every transaction was brought in by someone claiming to be Tamar. Surgical accuracy. The leak claims that Tamar slapped the envelope onto the coffee table with such a loud crack that the boom mic recorded it. The room became motionless. Tamar wasn't mumbling anything, but Towanda reportedly froze, eyes wide, palms perspiring, and said, "Tamar, please don't do this on camera." According to reports, her response was a cold, unwavering line. "If you were unwilling to wear it, camera, you shouldn't have done it." After that, things went south. According to sources, Tamar actually took screenshots of page-old text messages, texts in which Towanda pleaded for a few days to return the $150K, promising to make the payment as soon as the settlement cleared. Timestamps were included in the texts. Their receipts were read. Moreover, the hardest part for Towanda was that her voice notes were included. Within minutes after appearing on set, someone was able to leak information to the gossip blogs, according to voice notes. Towanda's voice is quivering when she says, "I promise I'm not trying to take advantage of you. I just need a little time," in one of the purported voice notes, would have caused a fandom earthquake on its own. However, it is said that Tamar played a different recording that had not yet been heard. In one, Towanda explains why she hasn't returned the money months later. "It's not that deep," she remarks. "You don't even need it that way." The subsequent storm, the entitlement, and the dismissiveness were unavoidable, but the recordings weren't the source of the actual explosion. It originated from a set of documents that Tamar allegedly pulled out and held up to the camera: bankruptcy filings, public records, and Towanda's bankruptcy filings. The moment Tamar pointed at her own name listed as a creditor, the room split in two, crew members shifted uneasily, one producer gasped, and an eyewitness on set claimed that Towanda's composure completely broke at that point. She stood up, her face crumbling. "Mascara, it wasn't like that," she cried, tears streaming down her face. "You have no idea what I was going through." She reportedly tried grabbing the papers from Tamar's hands, but security stepped forward. Yes, actual show security intervened before things got physical. Tamar, never breaking eye contact, coldly said, "I knew precisely what you were doing." And this is where the leaked insider account takes a darker turn. According to someone close to the situation, Towanda was afraid that this moment would arrive because she had been working behind the scenes for months to prevent this story from coming to light. Rumor has it that she even went to some family members and asked them to publicly support her story, claiming the money was a gift, not a loan. One sister reportedly hesitated, but ultimately just say you're sorry, someone else apparently responded, rolling her eyes. However, Towanda had no intention of apologizing. She was attempting to change the course of history. The animosity between the sisters had been building for years. But this was the breaking point. Crew members claimed Tamar's voice cracked in a manner they'd never heard when she shouted, "You let people label me a liar. You led the world while you hid behind silence, drag me." "I didn't hide," muttered Towanda, trembling violently. "I simply didn't know how to resolve the issue." "You fix a lie with the truth," Tamar retorted. At that point, the fandom descended into complete turmoil due to an amazing event that none of the insiders had anticipated. According to a second source, Tamar disclosed a stolen email thread in which Towanda purportedly wrote, "Yes, list her," to her lawyer during the bankruptcy process. She won't openly complain. According to insiders, Towanda fell to her knees and sobbed into her hands, claiming she never intended for Tamar to see that, and Tamar's hands shook as she read the phrase aloud. Message that she didn't think it would matter, that she believed filing for bankruptcy would clean everything up and allow everyone to move on, but Tamar didn't flinch. "That's the problem," she said. "You thought wiping the debt meant wiping the betrayal." As if the tension wasn't already high, rumors began circulating among the crew that someone in production was leaking updates to a private gossip page. New quotes appeared every 5 minutes. Fans on Twitter started trending the number of team members Tamar and Towanda revealed before the episode even aired. They were piecing together clips, comparing old scenes, and looking for hidden tensions in previous interviews. The more fans dug, the more suspicious patterns they found, including instances on the show where Towanda sidestepped financial questions and scenes where Tamar implied the most startling development of the evening was the third insider leak, which claimed that Tamar, yes, Tamar herself, had discreetly contacted the bank months earlier to reclaim her stake in the house because legally the original funds had never been recorded as a gift. Rumor has it that the bank confirmed Tamar's contribution and examined the bankruptcy discrepancies and initiated a private investigation. It's unclear if the investigation is still ongoing, but one thing is certain, Tamar confronted Towanda legally rather than just emotionally. At that point, Towanda allegedly yelled something that shocked everyone in the room into silence, "If you take that house, you take everything I have left." She sobbed and fell to the ground. Uncontrollably, trembling so violently that a medic reportedly intervened. The rawness of it, the desperation everyone witnessing could feel the years of tension boiling over in one catastrophic eruption, but Tamar, with a tight expression, whispered what insiders claim may go down as the most notorious statement in Braxton family history, "You should have thought about that before you took from me." A crew member's phone buzzed just as the room descended into oppressive silence, and they looked down, opened their eyes, and mouthed, "Oh my God." Towanda gazed up with bulging, angry eyes as Tamar abruptly turned. Whatever was on that screen. According to reports, whatever notification appeared on that phone at that precise moment altered the course of the entire "It just leaked," the crew member said in a whisper. Tamar's head snapped up, and Towanda's face went white. This was because the leak wasn't simply the voice notes, the files, or the texts, rather, it was something greater, unexpected, and so explosive that even the person who released the information at the time said the moment the news broke, the entire room went cold. The source claims that the leak included a sentence that shocked every gossip page in the nation, implying that Tamar wasn't the only sister to whom Wanda owed money. The leak named the sister, but her identity hasn't been made public yet. The room became so motionless that even the cameras continued to record despite the frantic Tamar's breath caught in her chest, and Towanda's trembling hand slowly lowered from her face as hand signals from producers seemed to hum louder in the silence. This was the one thing neither of them anticipated on this already nuclear day, another sister entering the blast radius. The crew member's phone buzzed once more, then another notification, then another. The room erupted into whispers, with one producer cursing under his breath and another rubbing her temples as if she were watching her entire career. Within seconds, the same headline lit up everyone's screens and spread like wildfire across every gossip site, fan page, and Black Twitter thread. An insider claims Towanda owes another Braxton sister 5 figures. Cover-up alleged. Unravel in real time. Towanda's entire body seemed to shut down, her eyes drifting somewhere hollow and distant. Tamar's eyes narrowed, searching the room for the source of this new betrayal. She knew exactly who the leak was referring to, and based on the sheer terror flickering across her face, she knew the sister wouldn't stay silent for long. The tension was broken by a loud crash. After looking at his phone, one of the lighting assistants had dropped to stand. He muttered an apology, but no one heard him because another alert appeared at that precise moment, this time from a verified celebrity account. It was a single cryptic tweet that said, "Should have paid me back when you had the chance." There were no names, no tags, and no context, but the fans immediately recognized the punctuation style, the typing cadence, and the unmistakable rhythm. It was Towanda Braxton. In a matter of minutes, Towanda's tweet had garnered tens of thousands of likes, quote tweets, and full-fledged investigative threads, analyzing every potential interpretation. Tamar's eyebrows shot up. She didn't anticipate support, especially not from Towanda, who had remained impartial during nearly every family conflict. Towanda's breath caught, a soft choking sound. She murmured, she promised she wouldn't say anything, as the word slipped from her throat. "Looks like promises run in the family," Tamar said without blinking. The tension in the room thickened into something almost physical, something suffocating. Someone from production whispered, "Should we stop?" However, the director shook his head because, at this stage, halting the story was already out, the damage was done, and whatever happened next would either make or break the Braxton legacy. Towanda's phone vibrated violently in her hand as she stared at the screen, tears dripping onto the glass, while Tamar watched her in silence, but that silence wasn't compassion. Towanda's phone suddenly flashed up with a name she didn't want to see, Tony, and she replied with shaky fingers. It was calculation, tiredness, and the weight of years finally speaking for themselves. The cry that tore from Towanda's throat was primal. "Please don't." Towanda froze, her body curling inward as she whimpered, "I was going to fix it." Whatever Tony said was harsh and cutting, slicing through her defenses as if she had none. "Tony, please don't say that." Another delay, another strike. "Please. You weren't meant to be involved in this." However, Tony didn't care about promises anymore. Not today. Not after witnessing her family's name trending globally for all the wrong reasons. Additionally, an insider who claimed to have heard Tony's voice over the phone speaker said that the oldest sister said something that made everyone in the room go completely silent. "I told you that the truth would always find a way out." Towanda sobbed more, squeezing her forehead as if she could force the tears back in. Tamar crossed her arms, not out of cruelty, but out of painful clarity, because the truth was finally coming to light, layer by toxic layer. Then there was another leak, a voice recording that appeared online, but it wasn't from today. An old one, a recording from what fans now refer to as the lost Braxton therapy tape, purportedly recorded years ago during a mediation session that producers never aired because the sisters collectively pleaded for it to remain hidden. In the audio, a voice that sounds exactly like Towanda's admits that she once accepted financial assistance from multiple sisters, promising to reimburse them as soon as the settlement is reached. Fans quickly combined this recording with the rumor that had been leaked, and the outrage grew. The hashtags changed to Braxton Gate, Pay Them Back, Wanda Truth, Team Tamar, and Team Towanda. Before the episode even aired, people were picking sides. A screenshot of an internal production memo alerting staff about the Tamar looked devastated, not angry, but heartbroken in a way that took away all of her normal bravado. "You let the world drag me," she said quietly. "For years, and you never once said." The memo was dated 2 years ago, indicating that the family had been trying to put out this fire long before today's eruption. In actuality, she is being honest. Never once. I didn't want anyone to know, Wanda said, crumpling forward and lowering her forehead to the ground while sobbing uncontrollably. I didn't intend to con you. I promise I didn't intend to harm you. But it didn't get any softer tomorrow. Not yet. Perhaps never. In order to avoid having to reimburse me, you filed for bankruptcy. That isn't desperation. That's tactics. Towanda gave a fierce shake of her head. It had nothing to do with strategy. It was survival. I was in danger of drowning. There was nothing more I could do. Her voice broke into unadulterated dread as she peered up through mascara. Before the courts found out, I assumed you would pardon me. I didn't anticipate you seeing the documents. Everyone in the room knew what that meant, and there was a sudden intake of breath. Towanda had no intention of telling Tamar. She had intended to discreetly and permanently pay off the debt in the hopes that Tamar would dismiss it as sisterly generosity and never delve further. Seeing the betrayal on Tanda's face, Tamar took a step back as though he had been hit. You took advantage of me, she said. You believed I wouldn't resist you, so you took advantage of me. You assumed that the family would take precedence over the truth. Tamar moved aside as Towanda crawled closer on her knees and reached for her hand. Towanda sobbed as she fell. Like a siren, reverberating across the space. Then there was another buzz on the phone. It wasn't a random alert this time. It wasn't just another headline about rumors. Not even a celebrity responded to it. It was a video, one that had been leaked. Someone let out a gasp. This wasn't just any film, so someone else muttered, "Oh, no, no, no." Just the thumbnail made me shiver. Everybody's back. It was a video of Evelyn Braxton speaking in a tired, low voice to Wanda's mother, their mother, while seated at a dining table. The audience froze when the caption read, "This was never meant to air." Tamar's mouth opened. Towanda covered her lips with her hands. Because if Evelyn was talking about the debt in a leaked, unreleased video, if Evelyn was admitting anything on television meant that this was no longer just a family dispute. With trembling fingers, this was the fall of a dynasty. When a crew member tapped the screen, the video began to load. The sound cracked. With her eyes lowered and her voice composed, Evelyn let out a deep, agonizing sigh. Then she uttered a single sentence that caused everyone in the room to recoil as though beneath them, the floor had fallen. There were other sisters than Towanda who stole money they had no intention of giving back. The cameras continued to record. Towanda let out a scream. Somewhere off-screen, Tamar stumbled. The name of the sibling Evelyn was referring to was whispered. However, the audio stopped. There were glitches on the screen. Mid-sentence, the leak halted. Additionally, the solder question that lingered like smoke was the last one. Evelyn said, "Which name?" The entire internet went into turmoil because of the glitch in the released Evelyn video. Thousands of comments came in every minute. People were yelling into timelines, demanding the truth, answers, and the name that had been cut off. The Braxtons had been hiding behind smiles for years. Harmonies and meticulously edited confessions on reality TV. Before the tape abruptly stopped, fans started to slow down the film, enhance the audio, and raise frequencies in an attempt to catch even the tiniest sentence that Evelyn's sister had started to divulge. Tension broke like a live wire in the studio. No one had ever seen the color drain from Tamar's face before, and her jaw hung wide. Towanda put her hands over her ears as though she could block out the social media impact. Platforms. However, the notifications continued to buzz, pop, and vibrate every gadget in the room, turning into a chaotic loudhailer. The real shock, however, came when Tamar got a message on her phone. One producer said, "This is going beyond us. This is going to get legal." Another murmured, "It already is legal." A personal message. Someone's message whose name caused her eyes to enlarge. Someone she never thought would get in touch with her on such a day. Tony was the one. Not making direct calls, tweeting, leaking, or communicating. Whatever words appeared on Tamar's screen and whatever Tony wrote struck her like a punch. As she read the message once, twice, and 3 times, her chest rose and sank quickly. However, the family had somehow remained silent for almost 10 years. According to reports, Tony sent a message. She wasn't referring to you or Trina. She was discussing someone else. Tawanda's breathing stopped. The entire room held its breath as Tamar's jaw tightened. Someone else. One more sister. One more debt. One more secret. However, the message was not complete. There was a follow-up text that exploded like TNT beneath that sentence. Mom was discussing money she had given to someone. She never received the money back. The air seemed to buckle as a heavy silence descended. Not the money of tomorrow. Not Trina's. Not Tanda's. Evelyn's. Their mommies. Evelyn herself had been defrauded of money by a sibling. Evelyn thought she would never see the money again. Whispering, "No, no, no," as if she were chanting herself back into reality, Towanda fell backward and landed hard on the ground. Tamar let out a breath. Through her teeth, pacing, and the fiery adrenaline coursing through her veins. On the internet, fans started speculating about names, creating charts, sharing speculations, and locating past interviews in which some sisters became silent at odd times. Then the entire, uncut, unedited footage of the leaked devil appeared, as if fate intended to kick the family once more while they were down. The person who leaked the entire file is unknown. The member of the crew who performed it in the studio almost fell. His phone as the last few seconds passed. The audio that had been cut was restored. With weary eyes and a quivering voice, Evelyn stared directly into the camera. In actuality, several of my girls stole money. They made a pledge to repay, but one of them had no intention of doing so. She knew exactly who she was after, taking a lengthy, agonizing breath. The fandom exploded. The space exploded and Towanda erupted. Towanda cried out, her voice cracking so hard it reverberated, "Why is she doing this?" But Tamar wasn't paying attention. Why is she turning the entire family against each other? Why now? Why now? Once more, her phone buzzed. This time, a fresh leak, a document, an outdated bank statement that belonged to a different sister and wasn't Tawanda's. As Tamar scrolled, her breath caught. Desperate to witness what had suddenly emerged, even the crew pros accustomed to dramatic celebrity meltdown staggered towards her. One withdrawal, followed by another, was included in the text. They are all labeled in the same manner. Loan for family assistance. 3 words that might have any meaning at all. Here was the shocking revelation, though. Tracy was the account holder, not Tamar, Trina, Tony, or Tanda. The space went cold. Towanda gave a guttural wail sound. "Oh my God," Tamar whispered as she closed her eyes, realizing that Tracy had vanished. Tracy wasn't present to protect herself. Tracy wasn't present to provide an explanation. Tracy wasn't present to corroborate or refute any of it. Tamar's entire being broke at that very instant. With a quiet, trembling but forceful voice, she turned to Towanda. "I was dragged by you for years. However, you owed me more than that. You owed more than simply Trina. You owed more than simply your family. Mama was also assisting you. According to this leak, Tracy was also involved. Tracy, who didn't even dispute with you. Tracy, who made a constant effort to maintain harmony." Towanda sobbed uncontrollably as she curled up. She gasped out that she wasn't meant to be involved in this. She wasn't meant to be in this narrative. You drew all of us into this, even though I never wanted her name to be mentioned. When you had the opportunity to reveal the truth, Tamar snapped. Fans were going crazy as they saw the leaks happen online. Tracy was defended by some, who said she wasn't present to explain her position. Evelyn was supported by those who claimed that mothers frequently assist their children without expecting recompense. Others maintained that the disclosure was a hoax and that someone was attempting to further divide the family. Conspiracy theories quickly proliferated. The biggest turn of all came abruptly after that. Into the phone of Tamar. An anonymous voicemail. A voice walked by a filter. "I have the final recording," the voice declared. Tamar's hand shook as she said, "The one that proves everything. The one that shows who knew and who lied." Towanda gripped her chest and wheezed. The voice went on, "If you..." The voicemail ended as everyone in the room stared at Tamar. Tamar stared at the floor. Towanda stared at Tamar, and somewhere deep within that silence, the one terrifying question formed in my mind. "Want it? Meet me alone. Do not bring cameras. Do not tell your family, because when this goes public, you won't just lose a sister. You'll lose the whole world's sympathy. Every mind." What did the final recording reveal? Because whatever was on that audio, whatever had been concealed for all these years, whatever truth was going to surface, it wasn't just going to destroy the sisters' relationship, it was going to burn the entire Braxton legacy to the ground. And tomorrow, standing there in the wreckage, you had to decide whether to play it or destroy it. If you've come this far, you already know this. Isn't just another celebrity feud, this is a full-scale family implosion taking place in real time, and believe me when I say that the next chapter will be even more explosive than what you just heard. The final recording is out there, someone has it, someone is waiting to reveal the truth that could reveal all of the secrets the Braxton family has been keeping for decades. This story is changing by the minute, and the moment that recording goes public, I'm coming back here with more information. Therefore, you need to hit the like button, subscribe, and enable all notifications before the next leak explodes, before the next voice note drops, or before the next insider spills what they swore they'd take to the grave. Don't miss the moment the truth finally comes to light, don't miss the shock, don't miss the receipts, hit like, leave a comment with the name you believe Evelyn said, and subscribe now because the next update won't just be big, it will be historic. Additionally, you must be present while the bomb goes off.